Ferdinand Hat Watch, a dungeon wedding, a cookbook author's reunion, and a half-assed assassination attempt.
A half-assassination.
Hello, crawlers, and welcome to episode 40 of the Dungeon Crawler Carl podcast. We are covering chapters 9 through 13 of This Inevitable Ruin. This is our third episode diving into here, and we're only scratching the surface here.
You know what? It feels like we're starting to actually move, but then I'll see the size of the book. It's like, oh, never mind.
We're barely in here.
Yeah.
I think the second half of the book, which we're not near.
Yeah.
But that's all climax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty intense experience.
Okay.
This particular set of chapters, we were initially going to stop a little bit earlier, but it needed just a little bit of extra meat. And I think us going right until the assassination attempt was kind of that end hook.
I think we found the meat.
Yeah, it padded it out pretty nicely. Folks, I did want to note a couple things up top before we dive into all of this. A lot of you in the comments got back to us about why Louis got a celestial box. And it's because he outlived a god that put out a marked for death on him.
Oh, okay.
And that's what it was.
Yeah, okay. Figured it was something like that.
Yeah. We also got a comment from a Kamamitsu75 who says, Mordecai being a Canadian and Canadians being a mob on this floor apparently goes way deeper. This is a faction wars emphasis on war. This is faction wars, emphasis on war. And some savvy Redditors noted that the Canadian troops were somewhat infamous in World War II for war crimes.
Oh, yeah.
To the point, some say their actions contributed in part to the formation of the Geneva Convention. This is somewhat disputed amongst the learned, but the reputation is there nonetheless. So yeah, the Canadian mobs aren't probably the maple syrup and apologies type.
No, I've seen them play hockey.
They can be brutal if they need.
That's true.
I mean, I've played hockey before, and I'd had nary a broken face.
Shout out to you Canadians. Oh yeah, I played hockey. There's a fake tooth from that.
Really?
Yeah, I snapped a tooth in half playing hockey.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you continued to play after that?
Yes, because I'm dumb.
Okay. I mean, I guess they lose teeth regularly, and it's just no big deal.
You should see him try to ollie.
I did a video on that.
Yeah, you did.
I did an all right ollie.
Baron Von Grant on Instagram. You can see him try to ollie.
Don't do that. One more thing I wanted to note. You guys might not know this when you watch the show, but I do a bit of color correction. I adjust the colors, the lights of the room each episode.
Yeah.
Or each season based on what floor we're on. So like in book 1, we traversed 2 floors. And so we changed the color in the background for that. For this one, what I did was actually desaturate a lot of the blue and teal. So it ends up like our backgrounds look a bit more gray. But if you guys want to see the actual color, it's a bit more like this. And it's got a richer blue. And I only do this to show you guys that I just came here from a Holi celebration.
Oh.
Do you know what Holi is?
Yeah.
The color powder?
Yeah.
I came here and I didn't have time to shower. And you guys were asking me about it.
Oh, okay.
My hair is teal. And I was like, well, we're doing hat watch. I'm just going to pop a hat on there. But my hat also got rather...
Dang, no kidding.
rather dirty. I mean, it washes out.
I thought it was
didn't get a chance.
I thought it was just part of your hat, but now I notice the back of your neck is also the same color.
This color, like I was soaked head to toe and I only had time to like change the outfit after dropping off my family before running over here.
So just so you know, he's only saying this because he doesn't want us to know that he actually just shoplifted a jacket.
And the dye pack blew up.
And the dye pack blew up. As he was trying to take it off with his teeth.
I think we're in the clear. I have a good alibi.
No, I wasn't there. I was at a holy celebration.
It's a holy thing. All right, guys, your homework assignment is going to be chapters 14 through 17. That's 14 through the end of 17. But let's go ahead and dive right in, guys. We start with chapter 9. They are at the Desperado Club. Juicebox is there. She's scarred. She's missing an ear.
Yeah, she looks more eroded than she was last time.
Yeah. So the toll is taking its toll. The effects are taking its toll.
The war.
The war is taking a toll.
Yeah.
There's a toll. Okay, that's all I'm trying to say. At some point, Juicebox notices and she like reforms her ear, but it's kind of a reminder of Katya is going
Sure.
through this same thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
She lost a whole ass arm.
She lost an arm. Earlier, she had lost some fingers.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that was on the same one, so it's just the same loss. You know?
Yeah.
If you're gonna lose fingers, and then it's like, but the other arm's gone now.
Her shape-shifting abilities, is that something that stays with her once she's out of the dungeon?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, because it seems like some things you lose.
Yeah.
You lose your ability at certain. It depends on where you go.
Well, in this set of chapters, we meet Tippid and see some of his story for the first time. And we know that when he's in the dungeon, he still has all of his wits about him. But once he is like removed from the dungeon environment after his indentureship, his brain injury comes back and he no longer is capable of like following time or, a conversation or having good memories. Everything's kind of jumbled up in there. So there are some things that just stop after you leave the dungeon because you're no longer privy to those enhancements. You're not in that enhancement zone anymore. So who knows?
Yeah, we saw that briefly when Carl was at that crawl con and he went through the hallways and suddenly he was like, "Whoa, I have no energy."
Yeah. Well, I keep thinking about this graphic novel, The Sword. I don't know if you guys read this. It's about the Luna brothers.
Oh, no.
I feel like I remember that from back in our
Yeah. And the girl, she inherits this magic sword from her father and has to kill all these people who are trying to kill her. And through all this, she racks up some grievous injuries, like her jaw getting ripped off and her legs cut off. But as long as she holds the sword, everything, heals back. And at the end, where she's done and she gets rid of the sword, all those injuries come back all at once.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing that with Juicebox here, but she's a changeling, so she's able to just like, oh, my ear, plop, pop it back on. We know that Juicebox was wanting Carl to really advocate for her people, for all NPCs to be safe, like that this was going to be a no-kill zone if he could use his leverage there. But that didn't really work out.
Yeah, he has to explain to us, like, they were never going to let that happen.
Yeah.
I did the next best thing.
We can kill them.
Yeah.
And Carl seems a little bit giddy about it in a way.
Yeah.
I think Carl would prefer this, honestly. He's like, I don't want to be safe for one floor. I'd like them to not be safe.
Sure. And he's made the declaration. This is what he's all about right now.
Yeah.
And Juicebox takes it surprisingly well. Like, well, okay.
When they go into this room, there's a bunch of documents spread out along the table. They're kind of already starting to share some information about like what's the structure of Laracos, like how can they fortify and protect this area. And a lot of what we get in this set of chapters is it's weird from going from Carl and Donut being these lone people kind of out surviving to, hey, we need to show the mechanics of what you need to do operationally to build up for a war.
Sure.
You have troops. They have to have a chain of command. You have to have leadership, and you have to have strategies that everyone is kind of on the same page about.
And when there are alliances, there's paperwork.
And so we have an alliance here. And Carl says like he recognizes that there are some elements of information that are being withheld by Juicebox's team. He's like, good, that makes sense. They should do that. But at the same time, what is it? So
because, we're 90% sure they're on our side.
Brittany like sits down and just starts rifling through all of this, and she's like really engrossed to the point where she's like obsessed with these automatons, these dwarven like digger automatons. So she keeps looking at that, asking about that. I think that we saw these digger automatons in the Iron Tangle. There was like this one room we went to, and there was like these dwarven automaton digger things. And so maybe she has familiarity from that floor.
Maybe.
Carl is recognizing that, Juicebox being a warlord of the NPCs in that faction, she now is kind of talking to the AI, and she has some degree of notifications, but he's like, how much does she get? And what we learn is it's limited. She has certain access to some kind of awareness and notifications, but the whole reason that she had to have a partner in Ferdinand the cat is because as an NPC, she can't have access to all of that info.
Right.
But Ferdinand, being this kind of gray area, was a surface being
Right.
cat
Yeah.
coming down here, but isn't one of the official crawlers, was brought in after the fact, means that he can bridge that gap and have access. But then the problem is your person who has access is Ferdinand.
Yeah, what a team.
Doesn't seem ideal. Carl learns that Ferdinand is actually the person who's currently mayor of Shantytown, and Carl wants that mayorship. That's what that little glowing necklace was on Ferdinand. That's him
What's
being
Ferdinand
mayor.
gonna do with it?
Yeah, he did nothing.
He doesn't know.
He's just going to call it Ferdinand and his bird.
Uh-huh.
But what does Carl want with Shantytown? I guess it's like kind of the access to a lot of the storefronts or something.
I mean, there are some, as we've established, pluses to being a mayor of a settlement. You have more of a say as to what the security does. You have, you can collect taxes. You can, like, there's a bunch of different stuff. So maybe it's something in there. We don't know yet.
Yeah, in the beginning of the Butcher's Masquerade, that was the whole teleporting into that Zakov town, was because he wanted to assassinate the person who was the mayor so he could become the mayor and then turn all the guards against everyone there.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out for him.
Well, maybe it'll work this time.
Maybe this time. We also learned that there was like an interesting thing going on with the storefronts, with the supply chain, that Juicebox was tainting all food and poisoning it so that any food that went out to the other factions was just like poisoning and killing them. So she had a good iron grip on all of that. And now that everything is officially running for faction wars, food supply is back up and running.
Yeah, and all of these NPCs were transferred to this place. Remember in the Butcher's Masquerade, right? Like they transferred all these people to the 9th floor, and they were gonna, I guess, start work at like carving out a spot for the crawlers that survived that long. And so, yeah, Juicebox was there doing her shit. She was in there. This is before they were going to be granted their own faction, so they were just kind of working with our dudes.
Stirring up shit. Yeah.
Stirring up shit.
Yeah. We learned that Drick, the former elf, I want to say he's like a pasty, muscly orc elf looking dude, but he has a brainworm operating in him. He's the adjutant for the NPCs.
He's the head of Health and Human Services.
And he has Ferdinand on his shoulder as they're going around. Ferdinand, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that whole thing, just picturing, I was like, why does he have Ferdinand? Like, is he obligated to have Ferdinand on his shoulder?
That's just what Ferdinand does.
I know, but
he's a very good boy.
Get off. he's a handsome boy.
He's a handsome boy.
I imagine he's tried to tell him, like, get out of here. It's just not happening. It's kind of like Donut just hops up on Carl's shoulder all the time.
Carl likes Donut.
That's true. Donut immediately demands that Ferdinand renounce claims that they're fiancés.
Yeah. He's been telling everybody she's my fiance, and she's like, "No, no, I am not."
It's interesting because you get the sense that like Ferdinand doesn't back down from many things, but Donut is that one place where he gets humbled a lot.
Oh yeah,
so it keeps happening.
Wasn't he her minion by the end of Butcher's Masquerade?
Yeah,
maybe that's something that's stuck. Or
right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Or he just likes her that much.
Could just be that's his bird.
Yeah. That's just my void.
Sorry. What was, you guys might remember her quote that I would rather have a relationship with a double gonorrhea corpse of a cocker spaniel than with you.
She doesn't mean that, though.
No, she can't.
She's just
mean
being
that.
harsh.
Mm-hmm.
So Ferdinand comes in. He's got like a toilet paper hat on. There's something about these cats loving hats.
Right?
I guess it's a Dr. Seussian thing.
Which, as the owner of 4 cats, as a dad of 4 cats, they don't like hats at all.
I didn't think they did.
In real life, they hate them.
Yeah.
Once it becomes sapient,
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
it's a hat thing. Yeah.
It's like the elves. They want some article of clothing.
But this is a good reminder that we're doing Hat Watch.
That's right.
Look at this one.
Yeah.
Little Peaky Blinders thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have all the colors like yours, but
Mine usually
I think
doesn't
it's a
have the
pretty nice
colors
hat.
that mine has.
They gave me.
Yeah. You have a hat too.
Yeah. Is it the 3 Floyds hat? I think so, yeah.
Are we doing hats as well for all these? I wasn't necessarily planning on it, but
It's too late now. We're doing
at this
hats.
point, I just need to cover up the blue. It's a lot.
Hat watch.
Hat watch. What else? Donut wants Louis to talk to Juicebox. Juicebox sitting on Louis's lap, and Louis's kind of freaking out. I think we talked a good amount about that weird relationship last episode, but Louis doesn't know how he feels about getting married, but eventually acquiesces.
He does. He gets with the program.
He realizes at this point, what does a marriage matter in the grand scheme of everything else?
Yes. Also, the way their marriage works is that you get married and it's not very ceremonial, and you got a month to decide if you want to stay married.
What a good system.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to have that system in the United States where people have like a month before the marriage is final, and before that, no harm, no foul. Here's your divorce.
Right. Yeah. You sign divorce papers right before you get married.
Oh, it's heaven.
So that when you hit that month, I mean, you can sign on or say like, yeah, we're good.
Is a month enough?
That's the one thing I questioned.
I was like,
a month is still honeymoon. So
let's do the first year.
Yeah.
Every couple of years, check in and a re-up. That's what. That's what maybe they need.
Yeah.
If we have any lawmakers watching, I highly recommend that you advocate for this.
I mean, unless you have kids, and then everything's void. But prior to that,
so I guess what I'm wondering here is how long is this floor? Is it over a month of them? I don't remember the length. Hey guys, here's your new thing to call us out on. How long is this floor? Because is it that month and they will have the other ceremony while they're still on this floor? Or can he back the outsies on floor 10? That might be interesting to keep an eye on. So Juicebox is sitting on Louis's lap, and Donut's like, say you love her. Tell her. Propose. And she's like really pushing a TV style proposal.
Yes, she is. And at the same time, it is good advice. He's like, I love you. Mm-hmm. Like, Louis, come on, man. Get it together.
Carl's also trying to be like on the other side of the spectrum going, you don't have to do this, man.
Carl's talking out the side of his mouth. Because he's saying, hey, on one hand, he's saying, oh, Louis, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. And on the other hand, he's like I really need you to do this.
Better do it, man. You better play ball.
Unite the houses. We're all counting on you. But you cannot. You don't have to. But we're all counting on you.
So Louis does he also says that like she's constantly in his chat. She's acting confident, but she's actually really scared. It's a lot of things that she's also having to deal with. I think there's the idea of what you project outward versus like what's going on with you internally is something that we see pretty interesting with Tippid later on, when Carl's kind of remarking on the person he sees in front of him versus the person he knows in the cookbook.
Yeah.
And the disconnect. He's like, this is a person who was broken and really racked by guilt and a lot of heavy things in the book. And here he's kind of got a smile. He's got a youthful energy despite being like 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
And it's that masking that we do, and I guess they do in the dungeon,
Yeah.
Put on a happy face.
I mean, Tippid is, I'm sure, looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah. So Brittany looks up from the maps and asks about these dwarven automatons, and we kind of jump from the end of chapter 9, jumping into chapter 10.
Real quick, I do want to say that there's a scene where Louis kisses Juicebox, but he has her change into something else before he does that, something more appealing to him, and she gets giddy and does change into something that I think the
was it a cheerleader?
Yeah, the description was like cheerleader outfit and
blonde something.
Yeah, a blend of like Iggy Pop and somebody else. I forget.
I think I completely missed this.
Yeah, I remember this. I forgot who the blonde was.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a reference apparently to a Friends episode where Jennifer Aniston is, and so like the Iggy Pop and then whatever actress I'm not remembering the name of blend is supposed to be Jennifer Aniston.
Wow.
Yeah, this was actually confirmed by Matt on Reddit.
It's a rough one, Matt.
At some point. I know.
Hope she doesn't find you.
Anyway.
Okay, that's funny.
Okay. I just wanted to give that little...
Okay. No. That's good.
Yeah.
They go to the... I guess they were just outside of the Desperado Club. I was a little bit confused. I thought they had entered initially, but they actually go to the entrance, the proper entrance, and Clarabelle's there. And Clarabelle's like, y'all can't come in.
Yeah. Not you again.
Yeah.
Carl was really happy to see that she's still alive.
Sure.
Yeah. But it turns out it wasn't just him that's not allowed. All crawlers aren't allowed right now.
Right.
Because Hamid, who is the head of the Guild of Suffering, the one who actually put out the hit on Astrid, his wife.
The Nightworm.
Who makes Carl's elbow tattoo spiderweb thing tingle when he even hears the name about him, is just kind of closing down shop for a few days to all crawlers, I guess until the actual faction war starts.
He's doing some restructuring.
But we also learned that Damascus Steel and Anaconda are still in this club hunting for him. Which seems ridiculous. How big is this club?
It's got lost in it. There's a lot of hiding spots.
It's a Winchester house?
I guess so.
I guess it is, in a way.
I mean, all these places seem like TARDISes where it's this small on the outside and huge on the inside.
Yeah.
They're hunting him because, if you remember, they had the Nightworm put a hit out on Astrid, which was his wife and one of the managers of the Desperado Club. And Katya and Carl killed her. And of course, Damascus Steel and Anaconda didn't blame him because it was part of the game, part of the job, but they certainly blamed their father or her husband.
Learned it's a whole family affair.
Yeah, her husband, the Nightworm, who put the hit out. So they want revenge.
So that's also a little ongoing background plot point. But they can't get into the club. But it's okay because Drick pops out with Ferdinand on his shoulder. Like we mentioned, Ferdinand has this toilet paper hat because he loves hats, and this was the best he could make for himself.
The closest he could get to his turban.
Yeah. He missed his turban.
It's so pitiful.
Yeah.
It is sad, but there's something kind of adorable about it. Carl, realizing that he knows what Ferdinand wants, and a hat, he also wants a Samu, his pet rhino that he was riding around on. And I guess Carl and Donut technically have access to both of those?
Yeah.
Well, Donut has the hat, the turban.
Donut has the hat. And she's like, yes, Carl, I told you about that. And he's like, I vaguely remember when I was going out on the motorcycle in the Eye of Bedlam Bard. So I had to look it up. And I found the part where she tells him. Donut says, she's drunk and she's texting a bunch. She says, I found his hat on the ground after the party. I have it. He was a jerk, but I kind of like it. And then later she goes, secret Asian man song lyrics. So yeah, Donut confesses that she does like Ferdinand, despite...
Oh yeah, no, she protests too much.
Yeah, she likes a bad boy. I get it. Yeah, Ferdinand wants his rhino. He wants his hat back. Carl pulls out that odd job bowler hat from
James
007.
Bond. Yeah, James Bond. Are you familiar with this?
I know Odd Job. I know it from playing GoldenEye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Odd Job's in GoldenEye?
Yeah, he's a character you can play in GoldenEye.
Well, okay. Okay. Decades apart.
He's tinier, so it was harder to shoot Odd Job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, less body mass.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he was as fast, though, if I remember. That was like the plus and negative.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
Too much about GoldenEye. It was a great game, though.
Never too much about GoldenEye.
Carl offers this Odd Job bowler hat to Ferdinand in exchange for, hey, we'll get that other turban back to you later, and we'll try and get Samu. But in the meantime, I need you to transfer Shantytown. And it works immediately.
Yeah. I mean, actually, the whole negotiation with Ferdinand went very smoothly.
Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, well, I don't know if I could do, but this is a very nice hat.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. No hat is going to be better than Odd Job's bowler.
I like the play for Donut between, oh, that's stupid. How would he want just a hat? But man, that's a really nice hat. I want that hat as well. And why would you give that hat away?
It has like a boomerang benefit on it where if you throw it and decapitate, somebody will come back like Odd Job's. It's Odd Job's hat.
They don't call it Odd Job's hat, but it's Odd Job's hat, right?
Yeah.
Do they not call it Odd Job's hat?
I think they mentioned Odd Job when he first gets it off of...
Yeah. He said a bowler like Odd Job. Yeah.
Okay, maybe they did it in the previous book.
He got it off of Quan CH's corpse.
Yeah.
And I think that's when they mentioned it.
Is this why Donut, after thinking about that hat, looked for Secret Asian Man song lyrics?
No, she didn't get that hat. She got his his turban.
The turban, okay.
No, she was just Can she Google in the chat?
No, I think that's essentially what she was confusing the two or something.
Yeah, but maybe does she have another panel in her interface where she can Google stuff?
If she could, she wouldn't be getting so many things wrong.
Well, true.
Who was
But how would
the
that
lawmaker who was caught Google confusing Google with a post on Twitter or something?
Oh, I don't remember.
They typed boobs or something.
That lawmaker was Brett Davis.
The wedding actually just happens really quickly. It's just a quick confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Louis says a little sad line. He says, "I wish my mom was here."
Yeah.
Aw, so it was a little bit of a sentimental moment for him. And Zeb's like, that was a first. I don't know if it was a first wedding between a crawler and an NPC or just a wedding altogether in the dungeon.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering what she was referring to.
But it might be the first ever wedding, because why would someone trying to survive also have a wedding otherwise?
Mm-hmm.
It's such a weird amount of sequence of events. Carl gets a notification from Florin mate, you got to get down to the stronghold. I'm not going to do an Australian accent anymore. I'm sorry.
You were doing it.
I'm stopping. Mate, you got to get down here. There's a massive recruitment thing going on. And he's getting all these notifications, all these people recruit.
Is that what he said? I'm about to blow your mind.
About to boomerangs. Dingoes.
Wow.
I think he said, yeah.
Man, you're doing so well.
And they're going to travel over there real quick. But before we do that, we get a chapter on Tippid. And Tippid is feeling guilty. It's weird running through line between all of these crawlers, and in particular the ones that get to write their feelings down in a cookbook. A lot of guilt.
A lot of survivor's guilt.
A lot of survivors.
And a lot of them, they're survivors directly because they maybe chose to save themselves instead of their friends.
Which makes it seem that is the only way to survive. I mean, I know the dungeon sets it up to make you, we saw on the last floor, it was all about trying to set that up. But yeah, everybody we hear from who survived is broken, and a lot of it is the survivor's guilt, or the friends they had to watch die, or the ones they had to sacrifice. Tippid is particularly sad.
Yeah.
In as much as what he negotiated for, by the time he gets it, he doesn't even want it.
He negotiated an extra year on his contract just so he could keep this key that he used to escape. And why that thing was particular to him was probably a clinging on trauma response of just what it took to escape, and this was a symbol of what he sacrificed for getting out.
Yeah, and as time goes on, the key doesn't matter as much as the sacrifice he made and the guilt that came from that.
Yeah.
Tippid is suffering from a lot of the damage, which I think echoes back to what you guys were saying about both Katya and Juicebox, like the toll, the physical toll that's actually being taken here, the mental toll. He's got such extensive brain damage that in his flashback that we're getting here, he's kind of time tripping between when he negotiated the initial contract when he got out at the end of floor 12 or beginning of floor 12 to later, like he's already like served his indentureship in the dungeon, and now he's like brokering a deal that he's got to pay money he doesn't have, more indenture servitude for getting his brain fixed once he's kind of out in the real world. We later learned that he got a job at a waste management place and probably worked there thousands of years before. Maybe it's unclear what the sequence of events is that led to a garbage truck being their symbol for a sponsorship. But maybe he worked his way to owning that business, or they just took it over, or I don't know what's going on here.
Seem more like taking it over because you don't really work your way into owning something.
Typically not.
Yeah.
Well, I think this also just kind of goes on to serve this idea that the idea of the hero living on happily ever after is a myth.
It's a myth, yeah.
These guys that are getting out from the dungeon, they may be regarded as these people that got very far in the crawl, but they go out to just completely broken lives. It's not like everyone's going to be an Odette or the paler version of Odette, Rosetta, who go on to become these media personalities.
Well, it's just, you see somebody, an athlete, a several-time gold medal winning athlete, and yes, they're praised to the sky, but then 10, 20 years later, if they don't have endorsements, they just go back to regular life. Everybody celebrates Jesse Owens as being the fastest man alive, World War II, but then he had to go back to being a janitor eventually.
And not to mention the way we treat our veterans.
Yes.
Very, very much.
And this whole thing with the crawler, Tippid was, part of the, back when once you were out, they didn't care. They took your money.
Yeah, it wasn't until like Dr. Hugh Porthos, one of the cookbook authors, the first cookbook author, ended up like advocating for crawlers and getting them, former crawlers, getting them healthcare and guaranteed housing and stuff. But yeah, people who got out before Porthos did that good work, they're screwed.
Yeah. Was it Mistress Tiatha, who is the manager for Ellie? Is that right?
Right.
Yeah, she was essentially like, well, even if we get out and we get to that housing, some of us have been in here too long that we don't get access to that. And then even if we do, you go into these neighborhoods where no one wants you there. And it's I mean, there's a lot of really
and they tax
good
the shit out of you.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good relevant commentary on, like you said, how we treat veterans, how we treat the poor or people that are refugees, and
we suck.
Yeah.
We suck. So there's a viceroy system that Tippid has to go to in order to get healed of his brain damage, and that is the madness. The same people that are the healers in the outside world are also these experimental surgeon freaks here in the dungeon. And it's kind of fucked up when you think like these are the people caring for us in the outside world.
And Tippid immediately has a trauma response when the viceroys are mentioned. He's like, oh fuck, like he immediately gets terrified because he has experience with them in the dungeon.
There's a line that he has to remember because he's thinking about his friend Horatio who had a wife and kid, and Horatio, it was between him and Horatio getting out. And if Horatio had gotten out, what's the value of that guy's life? He had a wife and kid who were already out, and he could have gone back to them, versus Tippid going out. And why should he have saved himself? He's feeling that guilt of like, was that person's life more valuable than mine?
Yeah, and Tippid is like, I don't have anything. I don't have anybody. That person had a lot. Why did I pick me?
And it's he has that person who tells him it's okay to be selfish when you're saving yourself, which I think is such a good, powerful line and something that's haunting these people.
Sure, but feeling guilt like he does, hearing that, it's not gonna affect him. It's not gonna change him one way or the other.
It's also a good line to spin out on. Is that even true?
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in his situation.
Yes, because he's in a situation where, yes, he lived, but to what quality, to what degree?
Right.
Class, Poisoner, race, and birth race crest, level 96. Tippid took a deal at the beginning of the 12th floor, worked in a guild hall, spent entirety of pension and loan for his brain damage getting repaired, worked at a waste management company, author of the 4th edition Anarchist Cookbook, current status, colonel in the Princess Posse Faction Wars team.
And reading that part made me go, oh, fuck yeah.
What an exciting reveal.
And they just gave us all of the justification for why Tippid would choose to come back into the dungeon.
Oh, absolutely.
This is like somebody who was so fucking burned by the system, felt so guilty about the decisions he's made. Of course he's going to come back. Of course he's going to want to come back.
Well, I get the impression that a lot of the dungeon survivors, they've just been eking out a life, not one they're happy with or proud of or feel any kind of energy from. And then suddenly they see Carl and the crew doing all this. And it's like, wait a minute, this might be something. And just getting energized, like, you know what? I got a path out of this.
Yeah, and then joining up with Porthos to try to make that happen.
I mean, you would think like the structure of what they have, if we take this as like a real thing, they've amassed a massive amount of money and powerful resources.
Yeah.
So like the amount that they're spending on last minute celestial boxes that need to get to Donut and Carl, that doesn't come from oh, look at these guys. That's like they've had this war chest waiting for the perfect opportunity. And now it feels like they're spending all of their money right here. This is their last hurrah. But not only that, like to your point of like Tippid is now motivated like to give his life for this. That wouldn't happen without Carl having a team in Faction Wars and opening the door that like they could go and give their life to a cause. And it's not just these cookbook authors, it's 50,000 of these guys.
Yeah. And I don't remember who asks Rosetta or who says it, Rosetta or Tippid or who, but talking about like how they were surprised at the response when they put the call out to former crawlers to join the Princess Posse in Faction Wars, how like people were enthusiastically joining them. And I get it. I totally get it. Like, this is something that has ruined their lives with faces behind the actions that they can see. They can see their ruiners and know how they can now, because of how Carl has changed the laws, can kill them. Fuck yeah.
Now, the question is, has Doctor Who been orchestrating this from like quietly all this time?
Call him Doctor Who.
That's his name, right?
Hugh, Who, same thing.
I like it.
Hugh, Who.
Yeah, he's been,
but like the enthusiasm in all of these crawlers, if he's just been like over time saying something to them, just a little something.
I mean, he seems to be like at least a connector and a massive point person for all of the survivor crawlers that are getting out. If he's the one, providing them housing and stuff, why wouldn't he also be like indoctrinating them to a cause? Like, hey, we'll give you this, But if we come a calling, you're going to war for
Well,
a
it
guy and a
would
cat.
probably be less of that, saying like, I don't know, but I'm hearing that this might happen, or it's looking like this could be a thing. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, right.
I see him more as a positive, like revolutionary.
Yeah.
Right. You make it sound gross.
I know.
I'll scratch your back, but
No, it's more like, hey, we have this opportunity. Let's do this shit.
yeah. So they go travel out of Laracos, go to the safe room, and that they're able to doggy door into, I guess, their compound, their actual safe room in their strip of territory. And while they're on their way there, Donut also learns that she lost her garbage sponsorship, which is because obviously the people who were the heads of the sponsors are now part of their team. It's a conflict of interest. They can't have them. Another little clue of that's who was connected. That's who was giving them the money. But we've already pieced all that together for the most part anyway.
And we know that because of the epilogue of the last book.
Yeah.
They enter the room, and here we get a pretty good emotional moment where Carl sees Rosetta, who's a Crest alien, as well as Tippid, a fellow Crest, and they're both standing there, and his jaw drops.
Yeah. He immediately recognizes them as cookbook authors because you can see their names.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty affecting scene.
Right. It feels like you can feel the breath being taken out of Carl in the description and in how he's emotional, and he's talking in a little bit of like vague code, asking like, how many of you are there? Which could be taken of like, we got a massive army of 50,000, as Florence like, you wouldn't believe it, dude. We got so many.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's like, how many other cookbook authors have actually survived? Because Carl hadn't fully pieced together whether or not cookbook authors could also make it out and be alive.
Sure.
And there's this, you get the sense from this that there's this immediate bond, this kinship that he feels to them.
Mm-hmm.
He's like driven to tears.
Yeah, because I mean, as we're reading this thing, we're seeing all these background things happening in
Mhm.
epilogues and different scenes, and we can piece together, like 2 books ago when they're talking about Porthos and Dr. Hugh, that's a cookbook author doing stuff
Yeah.
in the background somewhere. Carl has no insight into this. Like, this is the first time he realizes that A, they're even still alive, and B, oh fuck, they were the ones giving us all these boxes. They're here with us now.
Yeah, see, they're sacrificing their lives for Carl.
Yeah, this is
and the thing he's created for them.
This is a huge surprise to him at this point.
Yeah, because Florin tell him like, mate, you got to come see this, and he's like, look at the 50,000 people. But Carl's like, but look who's actually here.
He can't say anything.
But he can't say anything. And where Florin's like, I feel like you know these people already. He's just like, shut up.
Shut it. Yeah, and then Donut also going, huh? Huh? Why is Carl crying? Huh?
These crests are really huggy.
Yeah, you're gonna get mono. They're all kissing you.
It's like, it's Rosetta. We met her already. I don't know what's the big deal.
It is. It's a great payoff for Carl to realize that he hasn't been as alone as he feels.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we also kind of bear in mind that through the last book, and I'd say a good chunk of the book before, Carl's been kind of distancing himself from the rest of the group.
Right.
Louis pointing out like, you're freaking everyone out. You got the crazy in your eyes. Him not wanting to participate in parties. And stuff.
Yeah. The big Christmas celebration, and he goes off on a side quest.
And he's retreating into himself. We did a fun deep crawl.
Mm-hmm.
Patreon.com/Hello Crawlers if you guys ever want to hear additional content from us. But we did a deep crawl last week talking about like the motivations of Carl and Donut and a few of the other characters.
Sure.
And I feel like this scene here is like a good indicator of what it is that Carl wants and yearns for, even if he's maybe also simultaneously afraid of it a little bit.
He's never going to ask for it.
He doesn't want to let people in, but he wants
But he
that
deeply
community.
wants it.
Yeah, he wants to feel connected to people in a way that he didn't have growing up.
Right. But he's also not used to that feeling.
Right.
So it's, it's a lot to handle.
He's somebody who's been like royally screwed his entire life.
Yeah.
And that builds up over time.
Yeah. I mean, it's somewhat of a male thing to feel like nobody's coming to save me and I have to do this all on my own. But him especially. Because that's how it's proven to be his whole life.
Sure.
Like no one, he can't depend on anyone to be there for him.
And this floor, he kind of needs to.
Yeah. And just us as readers, we're seeing so much from everybody. I mean, everybody's always been there, but this is like everybody, like this is everybody's project. It's not just the Carl and Donut show anymore. Right.
Even to Donut's chagrin about
yeah.
Who's
To her
this bossy
chagrin.
guy?
But the way Florin stepped up, Brittany, someone who's seen like she was always just gonna hang back in her sadness, and now she's coming out and she's fully in the war effort.
Yeah.
So it's a whole kind of paradigm shift for him and us.
It's great. We learned that Rosetta she's got a glowing floral tat on her. She is a Crest barn burner. That's her class. Level 60, Colonel in the Princess Posse. And Tippid, he looks in contrast to younger tattooed Rosetta. He's old and rough and grizzled and scarred. He's a Crest liquid dervish, which I think is also just a great name. Formerly a poisoner. Now he's a liquid dervish.
And the Crest look mostly human. Like they're mostly human.
Isn't it like their eyes are like a little bit further apart?
Yeah, they're just a little off.
Anya Taylor-Joy or something?
Yeah, maybe she's a Crest.
Maybe.
Christopher Walken.
The theory.
Crest.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tessa Thompson. Yeah.
All right, we got him. So, yeah, Florin says he's excited. They got 50,000 of these people. That's what all those notifications were. There's just, the whole army is now being inducted into the Princess Posse. A couple of thousand of them, they immediately make into structural engineers, which we're going to see in a second when they go out there, are already like constructing stuff. Carl hugs everyone. And he's hugging Tippid and he's hugging Rosetta. He's all emotional. And Rosetta has to go, hey, AI, this is a friendly gesture. I just need to knock some sense back into him. So she kind of bops him pretty good and says, get back with it. Focus. We can't be emotional right now.
She belts him right in the head and is like, this isn't an attack. This is a corrective measure.
Yeah.
Don't at me, AI.
Yeah, right.
And just like smacks him in the forehead. It's like, get a hold of yourself, you piece of shit.
We sacrificed a lot. It's not the time for that. There is no time for that. You never get to show your emotions. Bury it deep inside forever.
Save that for after you survive the dungeon.
Rosetta is very direct. She's like, hey, you got a Torline? I'm going to need that. Give me however much you still have. I'm also in secret chat. She's like, remember you got this credit shit from one of these like orcs or something that you killed in the Butcher's Masquerade on the 6th floor? Give me that. And that's like money that like he can't access otherwise, but she's like, she wants that money. On top of that, she also is like, hey, Donut, you can give me $4 million. You guys are going to give me access to the Bomber Studio. Oh, and also, please, Donut, would you please give me that stuff? And negotiate.
Yeah.
She like forgets like, oh, I gotta be like nice to Donut. She doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
Donut do you guys feel like Donut knows what's up? How intuitive do you guys feel Donut is here?
She knows that there's something going on. I don't think she knows what is going on.
Because I feel like there's been other moments where Donut seems to have an awareness that Carl has an inside track with this cookbook, but doesn't fully know and kind of recognizes he can't say anything.
At least she understands that she shouldn't bring it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows enough for that.
It feels like she's kind of in the know. I think, despite her exterior, she
seems kind of intuitive about a lot of this stuff.
And she's had her own secret plans.
Right.
So she gets, the concept of it.
She helped to take down Borant.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop.
Yeah.
And did that all on the down low without communicating those plans and hiding them from everybody. And yeah, so she kind of gets it.
She compares Rosetta. She said, Rosetta, you used to be a Charlotte, but now you're much more of a Samantha. Most of you should probably already know what that's a reference to, but that's a Sex and the City reference.
Yeah, she says, sex addict, not sex doll head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when they were on Rosetta's show, she was so timid. Yeah. And now she's anything but.
Right.
We get a little bit of an explainer from Tippid about the backstory of his life. Porthos setting up the foundation, laws to protect crawlers, healthcare, all this in the center of the galaxy, that same place where what's it called? The dead, the lobotomized AI.
Oh, the eulogist.
The eulogist is presumably, and then kind of admits that they're now fugitives.
Or the apothecary. Fuck, I always get those two confused.
I think it's the eulogist. May the eulogist ever sleep. It's a dormant AI, right?
Right. Yes.
The team, all the crawlers that have joined the Princess Posse, they all opted to be able to pick race and class and upgrade all of that. However, all these 150,000 mercenaries that were seeded into the other different faction teams, they got to bring whatever weapons they wanted from the outside in with them, but they didn't get to choose a race and class. So they're just whatever they are.
They're just base level mercenaries.
Yeah.
Where, our guys didn't get to bring things in, but they're also like all former crawlers that made it past faction wars, that got deals. Like they're badasses, cool. Like
it feels like the better deal was to pick the race and class.
Yeah. Because they get all their spells and powers. So,
right?
Yeah. So Tippid is even like, they got a pulse rifle, but I'll take my murder tornado any day over there.
Not only that, but like these are a bunch of battle hardened, every single one of them, crawlers that were able to broker deals to get out.
Right.
They know how to fight and they know this system. They know the operating system, or at least a version of it from whenever they did their crawl. So they are a formidable foe.
1,000% going to always choose experience in this situation than numbers.
Yeah. Tippid also gives a little reference to his buddy Justice Light is also here on this floor and knows traps. So Justice Light was the skyfowl that we get in the reference to, what was the other guy's name? I don't remember the other author, but he was like, he was the second or third cookbook author who ends up dying, but he said he was buddies with Justice Light, who he thought was also a cookbook author.
Yeah, Justice Light spent all that time setting his store up. Earlier in this series, we found out that Justice Light has a lot of guilt for killing a somebody who a shopkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and he's a master trapsmith.
He's a master trapsmith.
So having him, there's 3 crawlers that we know of, cookbook authors that are now on the floor with him, and Porthos is probably somewhere. Presumably, if he's at like Puppet Master.
Yeah, they said that he wasn't in the dungeon.
Yeah, I assumed he's still in his ship.
Yeah, maybe he's in the ship still. All right, so chapter 12, interestingly, isn't a dedicated chapter to a crawler, but is a note back in the cookbook from Akiicha, who was an author of the 11th edition. Akiicha, I think this is a great parallel to what's going on here, is talking about being a loner, and kind of laments that like his people are more of like a loner alien race. They are born into the world and they all have to just survive on their own. Whereas he reads the notes of former crawler York, a previous crawler who came from a hive, and like having that connection, that family. He's like, even though York talks about being a bit of a loner as well within his own hive, it's something nice that this cookbook is like his own found family in this book. And that he does have that bond that Carl's also feeling, that bond with all the other crawlers. And this idea that like this fantasizing of what could all of him and his fellow crawlers from the cookbook do if they were to work together.
Yeah.
which is what we get to now realize in Faction Wars here.
Oh, that's exciting.
They step out of the safe room and realize the safe room exists in a bait shop on a hill. Up the hill from this little bait shop is their stronghold. It's like another fortress, I guess, that they said the NPCs, when they were setting this up, didn't know to like make it right where the safe room is. And instead, it's a little bit up the hill. So now they're trying to connect the two into one big building so that they can have like the airship there and drop in and all that.
Sure.
And they look out on these hills and they're seeing all of these workers. There's a few thousand level 62 fortification engineers building trenches and towers and constructing walls and testing all of it. And again, these are all people that have come from doing the crawl previously and surviving it. They know what they're doing and they don't need a whole lot of instruction, it seems. So quite the leg up. Even though Carl's a little bit freaking out that there's like 150,000 other mercenaries now on the other teams.
Right.
He probably shouldn't be too much.
I mean, it's all happening right now. It's going to take a while for him to realize and accept his impact.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think he's not used to having an impact.
Right. I mean, it like we remember in the Iron Tangle when everyone kind of stops and offers their hats to Donut, and it's like you start seeing the effect that when you give to these people, how much they want to give back to you as well. But yeah, him still operating as a loner in the last two books, you kind of miss a little bit of that. But it's not like we haven't even seen all of the other crawlers that he and Donut helped save.
Right.
Through figuring out like how to get out of floor 8. I would imagine that would also be a big response.
Yeah.
But here, we see all the engineers, all the workers stop and turn toward Carl and Donut and then start just doing a war chant like of appreciation.
Right. Hup.
Yeah, and Carl, he feels it. It's interesting in the description. I would have kind of expect like, oh, gee, who, me? But no, Carl's like, no, I felt this and I appreciated it and it like galvanized me in a way. So I think Carl does recognize, hell yeah.
I don't know if he's at the
the
hell yeah part, but it is still like
maybe it's not a pat on the back so much as like a hell yeah, I have these people alongside me.
Yeah. No, we got a chance at this thing.
Yeah.
Or if, at the very least, we're going to take down so many of them.
We're going to do something impactful.
And Tippid's like, this is for you. This is for what you built to Carl, which I think he takes to heart. We learn, you know what? There's an interesting scene where like a wall falls down.
Oh, yeah.
And Florin's like, I'm going to go help with that, mate. I'm going to keep with the Australian accent.
Yeah, you must.
Awesome, Rod.
Great, I'm going to make a card for that.
I think I'm always looking at the wrong.
That's your camera. He pulls out his Tagi card that he kept with him from the last floor, and it's his giant caiman. It's kind of a caiman's actually kind of like a smaller crocodile or alligator kind of lizard. But this is like a massive version of that like helps lift the wall almost effortlessly.
Yeah.
And do we know what card our team kept? Have they mentioned it?
Yeah, to me, they have not.
I don't think
you might know because you've read ahead, but
in fact, I can't remember.
No, because they made a big deal about not keeping Alpha Carl,
which makes me think they kept Alpha Carl.
Well,
the fact that they're like, well, the one card I know we didn't keep was Alpha Carl. I'm like,
well, I just figured that's don't listen expecting Patrick Warburton to come back. Right. We didn't keep that card.
I didn't see it on the cover.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And I thought maybe the card they would keep was She Maria, but she took care of that.
Yeah. She kept herself.
So now I don't know what it is. Is
right,
because
Raul was gone. I thought Skylar Spinach got sucked into hell.
Oh.
Yeah, don't remember.
There's the big cat, whatever that thing was.
Yola?
Oh,
Yola the cat, maybe. I don't know.
If they kept Yola.
That
Yola was cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yola's pretty dope. I don't remember which one it might be.
I don't remember either. Don't put it in the chat.
Don't spoil stuff for us. That's a no. All right, now that we yelled at you guys. Tippid explains a couple of changes as well. There's going to be a blood bar is back, so you gotta kill on this floor, or else you can't go into the safe room. You're gonna keep. You can't stay there too long.
Yeah,
You'll
you can't
get ejected
there.
Yeah,
and if you do, they'll teleport you out into some mob nest.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because if I was in the dungeon, that would be my strategy most of the time.
I'm just gonna lay low.
Hey, you guys still have that Grand Theft Auto I can play?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat some chowder and I hang out here. But also, and that blood bar is going to hurt really the Naga and the operatic collective the most.
Oh, that's right, because they're the ones who like to just hang
Yeah,
and
yeah.
hide.
Luke is the operatic collective, right? They said there's something also weird about like Luke. There's a Lemmic consortium.
Lemig Consortium.
Lemma. I always hear it. I never know how it's written.
They're the ones that talk like surfers.
Yeah. They sound like surfer
yeah.
dudes. And then at the final rounds of the battle, only like 9 people or so are going to be allowed in a safe room at the very end. So like only the high command will be allowed in there most likely.
Mm-hmm.
But Carl's like not sure how that works with the little changeling kids that they've been kind of keeping in their safe room. Are they going to be ejected out?
I'm glad he's noted it because we don't want whatever her like compression sickness had name that
Bonnie.
girl. Bonnie. We don't want
Not
her.
Bonnie. She was the little dwarf girl.
Oh.
I remember that one.
Well, who
Whatever
is
her
this
name
one?
is. We don't want her in a mob nest.
No. So they go into the stronghold. There's a big ass door. They have to open it. And Mongo's acting a little funny.
Yeah. Well, that's anytime Mongo's going, I'd stop and go like, what is up? What is he?
Yeah.
What does he know?
Because that has always been catastrophic.
Yeah. Early warning system.
Big Tina's back.
Yes.
We get the
Yeah,
big
I
ass
love that they're
sign,
struggling to open that door and it suddenly just bust open and it's Big Tina.
which is insane because like Carl is a level like 70 big brute dude who's got insane strength and he's struggling with his door, but that dinosaur just bops it open like it's nothing. Tina is there as a big Allosaurus saying Papa
Yeah.
to Mongo.
Papa.
It's got to be kind of weird to Mongo be like, whoa.
Yeah. Stepdaddy at best.
Yeah, that was a booty call. Nothing more.
At best, fun uncle.
I'm not paying alimony. What is this?
He may be soon.
We also get a pregnant Kiwi who's now back to being a bear with an eye patch, an old bear. And Mongo is going, huh? To which Carl's like, sorry, buddy. Sometimes people change. But not like that.
Yeah, not like that.
She's a whole ass other kind of thing now. And she's pregnant with my babies.
That is not what people mean when they say sometimes people change. So yeah, if she's half bear, and is she going to give birth to a lizard because she was, or a velociraptor? What would it be?
She's going to give birth to something.
Something.
Yeah. A bugbear? I don't
Whatever
know.
the AI wants it to be, I guess.
That's how they actually make Canadians in the dungeon.
Sorry, Canadians, we're back at you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, will she give birth to a baby or an egg?
That's a good question. And do you breastfeed that thing?
Yeah, if it's got a velociraptor jaw, no thank you.
Yeah, just throw it a whole live chicken or like, I don't know.
So they realize they learn the name of their fortress is the Fortress of Unyielding Power and Authority, the FUPA, which you guys can look up on your own what a FUPA is.
Do a Google search for what is a fupa.
What is happening with this series? We got Nussies and Fupas now.
Am I supposed to take this seriously? What is this, a joke?
That would make a really good t-shirt. What's up with this series? We got Nussies and Fupas now.
There was a battle for the naming of the fortress going between the NPCs and the sledge, apparently, who really wanted to call it Los Santos from GTA.
Hell yeah.
Oh, is that where that's from?
You can't let go of it.
Okay.
Is it GTA 5? I don't remember
Yeah,
which
I think
one.
so.
But yeah.
we see people are constantly hustling, bustling, going about. Like everyone else is setting things up and
building walls, testing them.
Yeah. Carl gets into the war room, and there we meet Herman the Fleet. He's the third of the 3 ogre brothers. We met one on the 3rd floor, then one on the 6th floor, and now we're on the 9th floor. So we meet the third of them, all tied to the Vengeance of the Daughter storyline.
Yeah, they were a tattoo noddling 3-headed thing that got split.
And it was, I didn't look up if there's any significance to these names, but the first one I believe was Apollon, and then there was Arison the Wise, and now there's Herman the Fleet. I don't know if those 3 names are part of something. Who knows?
Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, we'll task you with that one. But it seems like this one, Herman the Fleet is the smart one because he has glasses.
Yeah,
on.
right.
Which is just ridiculous.
That's how you know, though.
We also,
I mean, as a kid, I really believed that if a person wore glasses, they were smart. And I was a kid in my class who I always thought was so smart, and then got one of his tests back, and it was a D- on it, and it made me rethink the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, you just can't see the fucking answers.
you're dumb like me. Yeah, we all have glasses and hats. Glasses watch. No, I'm not. No, why am I making more work for myself?
Glasses watch.
More work. Where was I? So the Nodling. Yeah, there's this guy. I think that he said that Arison the Wise is also down on this floor somewhere. He came down with some of the other tattoo ones or the ogres.
Right.
But also the original tattoo that these 3 spawned from also exists somewhere on this floor. It's really weird.
It's a whole thing.
Carl also is kind of wondering about like this idea of Alpha Carl being a version of him existing on this floor, and that there can be multiple versions of you, doppelgangers. And this just feels like it feels like it's setting up for something like that when you have an aside like this in a book series where you can have variations and iterations of yourself.
So we know somewhere there probably exists a Serena Signet with big boobs. Breast watch.
Now we're back to breast watch.
I just need more explosion graphics. That's the only reason I brought that up. Breast watch.
That's so funny. Damn it. Carl and Florin have a little bit of a secret chat while he's kind of looking around the war room. And it's to check in on like what's going on with their surveillance of the area. It says Ellie is checking one of the borders. Those werecasters, those little beavers kids, are going and checking another side of the border. They've learned that they can send spies into other territories while there's still this war embargo going on. But if they get caught, they get kicked back. And that's kind of what's going on in their own territories as well, which is why they're trying to put up towers as fast as they can. Because if they have
if they set off a trap, they can get killed.
Yeah,
right.
So maybe on our side, we have them already going out, but Carl doesn't mention that here. And then Herman the Fleet starts acting weird. He's like, the power. I'm sorry, Carl. I've been waiting. Tell my brother I'm sorry.
I'm so conditioned at this point in this series that if I was in the dungeon and I saw that, I would just start running away.
Or shoot it.
I wouldn't be like, hey, what's wrong with that guy? Just fucking run.
Especially since they haven't known him that long.
Right.
A sequence of events happens here, all in quick succession. A mysterious voice in Carl's head says, Carl, watch out. Now, we're reading the book.
Yeah.
And I don't know whose voice that is.
So like Obi-Wan?
Yeah, did you, like, when you guys listen to this, do you know whose voice that's supposed to be?
I assume she Maria.
Is it she Maria?
I've been expecting her voice to pop up a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
But yeah, like I said, she's a sinister force, but at the same time, she wants Carl alive. She mentioned that when she did the takeover.
There's part of me thinking it was Baroness somehow, like messaging him too. I just didn't know who it was.
Could be that too. It could be Baroness Victory, but She Maria makes sense too.
Yeah, because what happens next made me think not Baroness Victory, but
right.
But yeah, she Maria's right there, and she's like, she's got her own plans, but a big thing on her list is keeping Carl alive.
Well, Donut shoots a magic missile. Tippid ghosts out of there. He just turns and throws a smoke bomb. He's like, poof, y'all are on your own. I'm here for the war effort, Carl, but not too much heat.
I was actually surprised by that.
Yeah, he just bounced.
Yeah, like was he leaving to go do something else, or for all his yes, we're in this together. Oh shit, no,
my hot pocket dinged. I gotta go.
Sorry guys, look at the time.
It's the ham and cheese one, my favorite. Let's go.
Yeah, what the fuck, Tippid? Florin drops on
timid, but sorry, go ahead.
More like timid. Florin drops on the ground and shields up, like it does some alligator shield thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Baron Victory, she pops out a door in the back with a big axe and just cleaves him in the head, killing him. And Donut, I don't know if I said it, Donut shoots a magic missile.
Yeah, which is probably the thing that saved them.
Right.
Meanwhile, Carl does nothing. He even has Chi Maria say, "Look out," and he just,
oh no. He yells out bomb to everybody.
The most helpful thing to do. Bomb! Well, Baroness Victory axes the ogre dead, and then she says to Carl, "Well, I can't do everything." And Carl's like, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah.
Picks up the corpse and puts it in his inventory before it explodes.
The bombs are all still destabilized.
Yeah.
So he has to suck that up right away.
I just love that, Carl in every other situation is always hitting protective shell. He doesn't do shit here. He just goes, "Oh."
I mean, there has to be some things that are just going to catch him, completely off guard, unawares.
Baroness Victory, she starts shouting up into the sky, to which they're like, "Oh, is she talking to the AI?" And she's like, arguing, "No, that was a fair measure because that shouldn't have happened."
Yeah, that was an illegal move.
Yeah, and is like, "I'll accept your apology." Like the AI is apologizing to her.
She's immediately coming in super valuable and trustworthy.
Yeah.
As an adjutant.
Yeah.
And Carl's like, "I don't know if I'm in love, mate."
That was Florin, actually.
It was Florin.
Florin, who does
I don't know.
You said Carl.
Carl is also Australian at this point.
I don't know if I should be scared or in love.
Yeah.
But it turns out that the dream had taken over.
Taken over.
Had taken over, controlling his interest in the storyline Vengeance of the Daughter, so that they could use it for illegal means to just try an assassination attempt.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like it was actually a pretty good move.
I guess. I mean, if you don't get caught, which they totally did.
They got caught immediately.
I guess, but at this point, they're kind of fucked either way, aren't they? Aren't they all about to die on this floor otherwise? They should try and kill him. So that didn't work out. But that's where we end this.
Yeah.
That's a fun set of chapters.
It was a fun set of chapters.
It was. I was thinking about getting to revisit the particular part where Carl encounters the former crawlers, and I remember that just being this good emotional beat, where Carl kind of briefly gets to let his guard down and show his vulnerability when he tears up around these guys, because he has this connection to people, only through story, through these books.
Sure.
But then he finally gets to see
mythical heroes to him.
Yeah. And it's not even he chose to let his guard down. It dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good beat. Folks, we want to say thank you guys for tuning in and checking us out this week. We'd like to remind you guys that you can help support the show in a couple of different ways. First off, if you guys go to patreon.com/hellocrawlers, there you can make a monthly pledge. We have a couple different tiers. You can pick from those. But if you, even if you join at the $5 a month, you get to hear us talk about some stuff behind the scenes. We go into deep crawls where we'll talk about, well, in the earlier books, we were talking much more about spoiler stuff, but now we're kind of catching up to the to where things are currently. We're just kind of going into more tangents about stuff that we think is interesting that doesn't necessarily fall within the chapter book discussion.
Right.
But we appreciate all you guys joining along and adding your own insights in there as we do that. It's a lot of fun. You can also go to hellocrawlers.com/store, where this guy has been just steadily cranking out.
He's a machine.
Yeah, you got more. I think you're wearing one of the latest ones.
This one was really popular.
That's one my favorite.
Yeah, Samantha one. Everybody likes Samantha. I might make more Samantha merch. I actually got a message from our Reddit moderator Gilbert, who was like, you should probably just make all Samantha merch. I will buy it and wear it all because I identify as Samantha essentially.
You need to make some like full head to toe pants, shirts, and like hat. All Samantha is just fully dripped out in it.
Oh shit, yeah.
Some Samantha shoes.
Look out for that.
Well, once you start making Samantha heads, that's what's going to sell.
So yeah, no, I'm not going to make Samantha heads.
You're way too quick to dismiss that idea.
Do that. Go to the Patreon, go to our store, buy the merch. Check out our Instagrams.
Yeah. You can check us out over at Hello Crawlers, Instagram at Hello Crawlers, and on TikTok. I also was telling people when they were like suggesting things to me of like stuff they want in the store, I was like, hit up at John Rubio on Instagram. You can just message Rubio there, and I'm not making merch. You're not making merch at this point, so just this guy.
It's all John. It's his show.
We have a subreddit.
We have a subreddit as well. If you guys want to come join us over there, we'd love to have you guys engage. That's where we'll actually put up the posts. Like you can have comments like on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever you're watching, but that also might just be a little bit more of like a hub if you guys have more things back and forth you want to engage in a conversation about. And we want to thank our crawlers from Patreon, including Aaron Nightingale is rocking a Carl shirt. Andy Kogan, Eli, Aldo, I will see you down there, John, and we will eat some tacos. Nussy lover. Why going on there, Aldo?
That's sounds like fun.
Another SGU listener, Answer Knox, Bane the Maine Coon, Barry Long Dick Style McGibbons. Come on.
Come on.
Is D-I-K, right?
D-I-Q.
Oh, D-I-Q. I think that's pronounced Deek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brian Gillespie, Caden B. Charlie, I'd rather watch Split than Lost. C. Come on, no one would prefer to watch Split.
I would.
Oh boy.
At least I'd be out of there in like an hour and a half.
Dave Go Round, Faye. Hey, it's Gilbert. Holly Mac 79, Jillian, Kevin Markley, Kittian, Christina Flanders. Lost was all right until the writer's strike. Lumen, Matt Johnston, Michael Griffith, Michael Trainer, Noel Mead, Prince Stealth Axe, Professional Babka Bikini Waxer Mike Wright, Quan CH's Liberated Arm, Queen Anne Chonk, Raftify, Riley Parrish, Robert Miller, Sir Scrimley, Verilux Real Pet Companions, Zenobia's, and You Down with DCC? Yeah, you know me.
I really like how people are gaming the system, finding exploits to get messages on the show.
There's a lot. It keeps adding. This list keeps adding.
It's on theme.
Yeah,
it's
who
nice.
is the Carl they're secretly communicating with?
I got what you guys are saying. Lost is okay, is what I'm understanding.
I think it's the one that has Deke in his name.
And now it's time for our final segment, Death Watch Extreme Dungeon Mayhem. We check in first with Aldo Neko, our level 6-7 Barbarian Thickromancer, who fell and splatted on he's level 67, splatted on the roof of the castle that poked up from the water. He thickened and climbed back up out of Laracos.
Oh, good.
He bought some Laracos tacos on the way up and wolfed them down.
Oh, good.
And as he reached the top of Laracos, his stomach gurgled something wicked.
No, hold on.
Uh-oh.
You can't.
Bad tacos.
You can't make me canon selling Laracos tacos, but then have somebody immediately get food poisoning.
Were these poisoned tacos? Perhaps poisoned by the NPCs? He foamed at the mouth and collapsed.
Yeah, you got to check your meat.
Yeah, you got man. Come on now.
I'll
What's your health standard?
I'll go to the doctor tomorrow.
You should make a Laracos taco shirt.
I should make a Laracos taco shirt. Would anybody buy a Laracos taco shirt? I don't know. Let's do it.
Next, Caden B, our level 61 half-orc Somali Yay, fell to his death alongside a resigned-looking barbarian.
Going, yay!
He checked his inventory and pulled out a parachute.
Why'd you say it like that?
I wrote, well, wait, he pulled out a parachute. I think that's how I wrote it.
There's a hyphen in the word.
He deployed it, and instead of slowing his descent, it actually ballooned up and shot him upward with such a force, it snapped his neck as he flew up into the
Good
air.
Lord.
Sounds more like a pair of shit.
And then Andy Kogan, our level 49 trash panda junkyard spelunker, had been infected by slugpox. But luckily, with his new class upgrade, that infection was negated.
Yay.
How fortunate. Then he heard a stirring in the trash mountain he stood atop. Uh-oh. A level 70 litter critter erupted from the refuse and swallowed him whole.
Well, that was short and unceremonious.
Short and sweet.
What the shit?
Finally, Bane the Maine Coon and Snips, level 66 feline conjoined twin perverse disco dancer.
That guy's name is longer than that whole last thing.
Right.
Fell into the waiting jaws of a hip bimbo. He clicked his disco clogs 3 times, and a quick barrage of electric lasers shot out in all directions, slicing the hippo to pieces.
Now that was cool.
He landed safely in the viscera. And then what happened? But from above, he heard a loud, "Look out, eh?" as a Canuck came crashing down upon him.
What kind of Canuck?
A Canadian mob.
Okay.
One of the mobs that chased him to the cliff edge,
Okay.
I guess, also fell.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
I'm trying to kill them in ways before the faction wars has started, technically. So I'm dancing around because we're like, 3 days out from actual faction wars. So, anyway.
You're doing an okay job.
Thank you.
You just downgraded
Yeah,
you
I had noticed the downgrade.
in the middle of
I
my
would have
sentence.
taken the fine and resigned to the okay.
Moderate.
And just a reminder, everyone, your homework assignment for next week is going to be chapters 14 through 17. And with that, we're done. Get out there and read, read, read.